I guess we are live, and let me have a quick check if
Okay.
we are able to live stream on LinkedIn and YouTube. Yes. Yes. So Gaurav, I guess we are live, and we do have 80 plus people watching us on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. Okay, let's not waste more time. And I'm very glad to have you here. And for people, I think we can get started with our talk. So good evening, everyone. Hope you're keeping well and staying safe. This is Hafsanjum, and I am working as a community executive at Trekro, when we are building an exclusive community for developers to get connected with like-minded people, build your network, and grow professionally. And today we are in the conversation of Beyond Code with the leading techies in the industry, where we are unveiling the journey of them, of how they started, the challenges they faced, and how did they walk up the ladder, and what did they do for being the way they are right now, and how did they achieve their career growth. So, for the very first conversation of the Beyond Code series of 2023, we have Gourav Thakkar with us. And for a brief introduction of Gourav, Gourav is a software engineer, and now he's working as a vice president of engineering at Pintar, and he has a demonstrated experience of 10 plus years in the industry of information technology and service industry, right? And I'm not going to talk more about Gaurav in the introduction itself, because we are diving into the conversation with him about his journey and how he did, come across the journey of this, and what was so exciting. And let's dive into the adventure of his journey. So, hi Gaurav, very happy to have you. Can you just go ahead and say hi to the audience?
Yeah. Hi everyone. A very good evening for all of you. Thanks, Hafsa, for giving me opportunity to talk in this platform. Happy to share the discussions with you, and just share some mantra with this group, which can help them in future, right? So that's fine.
Yeah. So Gaurav, just for the audience to know where you're from exactly and where are you right now,
Okay.
just a glimpse of where you're living it right now. Yeah.
So where I am from exactly might be difficult to tell. I'm basically a Gujarati. I was born in Bihar, Jharkhand, and now it's Jharkhand. And then I grew up in a small town in West Bengal, multiple towns in West Bengal, actually. I was in Kolkata for 3 years as well. And then I completed my engineering in Chennai, and currently I'm in Bangalore, right? So I have traveled a bit, not a lot, but of course, definitely I traveled a bit. And currently I'm in Bangalore. I have been in Bangalore for almost 8 years now, right? Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How's the weather over there, and how's the whole Bangalore right now? Now that it's also Valentine's Day today, I guess.
So Bangalore has spoiled in case of weather, right? The weather here is always awesome, right? Okay. There's not too much heat, there's not too much cold, right? It's just the weather you get accustomed to a lot, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I go to my hometown for visiting my parents. I don't go in midsummer or winter because it's too cold or it's too hot, right?
Yeah.
I'm not habituated to any of those things right now, right? The only problem with the Bangalore weather is the rain. Literally, the rain can start any time of the day.
Yeah, definitely. I think for all the audience who's joining us, shout out to all the people who are from Bangalore. And if you're anywhere near to Gaurav, I think he lives in Koramangala. I think it'll be you guys might share the same weather and same opinion on it. So yeah. So Gaurav, now that you mentioned me that you've been, born and brought up in different parts, let's say from Rajasthan to West Bengal, and then you had your college in Chennai, right? How was the schooling back then? Did it really affect you as a kid while you were traveling a lot or something?
So no, actually, when I was schooling, I was not traveling a lot. I was in one small town where I was doing my schooling. So since it's a small town school, right? I struggled a lot when I came to college because my communication skills were really bad. Okay, specifically because I was not confident, and basically what happens is, when you don't know English and everyone's speaking English around you, right? Okay, you start feeling underconfident, and you put yourself in a cell, right? And you don't get out of that cell, right? So that happened to me, right? Okay. And I think slowly when I started working, I started becoming more confident, and that helped me to come out of that cell, and then that helped me grow into my, soft skills and my career where I am right now. So
Mm.
schooling was good, definitely knowledge wise, but
Mhm.
uh, I think the school that I was in,
Mhm.
people were mostly talking in regional language, right? So Bengali, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's an English medium school, but the
Yeah.
maximum discussion happens is in Bengali or Hindi,
Yeah.
right? That's all. So, it affects a bit, right? But
Yeah.
then I went to Kolkata. I went to a different school in Kolkata. It was completely different, right? The amount of
Mhm.
exposure they give to the students are completely different than the amount of exposure they give to the student in a small town, right? Though knowledge
Yes.
kind of thing is fine, right? They do teach the same thing, but uh, uh, I think the platform the student gets in a city is much higher than what they get in a town, right?
Yeah.
Most cases, right? It depends on the town size and all those things as well. But I was
Mhm.
pretty small town, uh,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I think that was the biggest challenge when I was in school, right?
Yeah.
But actually not in the school, because when I was school, I never knew that I might have that problem, right? Okay. Actually, when I got out of the school, I started feeling a little bit underconfident, and yeah, a little bit hesitant in talking to people. I was more of a guy who will just keep everything to himself and just the corner of a room, right? That's all.
Yeah.
I'm still that guy a little bit, but I have improved a lot, I'll say.
Well, yeah, I think we can see the improvement. I think where it has taken you and how much you worked on yourself.
Yeah.
And I think coming back to your schooling and college, I did have a look at your LinkedIn profile, and well, you have a very good, bachelor's GPA, which is like 9.4 or something.
Yeah.
So were you like really a geek or nerd back then? Were you like the top of your class, or how was it?
I don't think I was a geek or nerd. The problem is I have done it with a private deemed college, right? As SRM University.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I feel, the scoring system of private universities are pretty generous. That's what I feel. Okay. I am a kind of person who used to complete my assignments or study just one night before the exam or one night before the,
Mhm.
right? I have never studied a lot. Okay. But I do get this a lot. Everyone who sees my GPA asks that. But now I'm in a space where I am going to remove the GPA from my profile anyways, because it doesn't matter anymore, right? Okay.
Hmm. Yep.
So I
Yep.
don't want people to know that I had a high GPA, because I really think that it doesn't matter first of all, it doesn't matter no matter which college you are from. Uh,
Mhm.
because I think if you have passed engineering, you're good enough. Okay. I think the
Mhm.
GPA is just an additional mass that people judge on to make the process easier. That's all. Uh,
Yeah.
and I stand by my word. I really feel that GPA in private universities are
Hmm.
easy to get.
Yeah. Yep. 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 And let's come back to the journey of the college and Gaurav, and how did you land your very first job, right? You were also you did mention me that you were not really a kid who was out and about and really introvert type, if I'm okay to use that word, I guess.
Yes,
So
yes.
how was your communication skills, and how did you cope up with the whole corporate world and getting out of the college as a new grad? And while you're working on your personal skills, and also professional skills and coding skills, how was your first job? And you would always remember that. So how was that journey?
Yeah. One thing I can say, that my coding skills were always good from the beginning.
Hmm.
Actually, I chose IT, or computer science as my major, because what happened is everyone, right? So I started like my dad has a very old computer, first black and white computer, and I love to play
Hmm.
small games on that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the games grew the interest, right? So from black and white computer to color computer, playing road rash, cricket kind of things on laptop, right, on computer. That was when I wanted to start building softwares, right? Okay. So that's when I decided that I will, study. If I study something, I will do computer science, right? I was adamant about it, right? Okay. If I don't get admission in computer science, I will not take admission in the college. I'll wait for 1 year, right? And that's the reason I chose SRM, because I was getting colleges, different colleges as well, right? But I was not getting computer science there, right? And my idea was to, no matter what I do, I have to get computer science as my major, right? Okay. Um, so that's where my interest in the coding was, right? Okay. But again, when I came to college, I got to know that I seriously lack in communication skills, right? Okay. Not with friends, but outside friends, right? Okay.
Yeah.
May it be teachers, if I have to present something, if I have to talk to someone unknown, right? I really lack that. The good thing about my college was they used to provide us a separate subject called personality development. Okay. uh,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to teach us about spoken English, on how to present yourself, how to talk to different people, right? So they used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of the semesters they enforced everyone that everyone has to talk about something for minimum 15 minutes, right? And the
Yeah.
first time, though it was just my class members, right? When I went and started talking, right, I was literally shaking. Okay. And I somehow I finished it, right? I made so many goof ups, I made so many mistakes, right? um, so I came back to my friends were saying, Gaurav, I was able to see your legs shaking. I'm like, yeah, thank God I did not fall down because I was
Mm-hmm.
that nervous, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I lacked confidence. And this lack of confidence was uh, multiple reasons. The first reason was I'm not fluent in English. I still make mistakes. I still make pronunciation mistakes. I still make grammar mistakes, right? Okay. But I was really, really bad at that time. Okay. Second thing, I have a speech defect, not very evident. What happens is sometimes I stutter, not always. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I stutter. I used to stutter a lot before, but I have improved it. And now I do stutter, but mostly when I'm very excited, or, I have some words that I can stutter on. Okay. So stutter, lack of English confidence, right? All
Mm-hmm.
these things, made me so nervous that I never wanted to publicly speak, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Better that
Yeah.
I do my own work and get it away with, right? That's what
Yeah. Yeah.
mentality became, right? Okay. But yes, what I did is I worked on it, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For stutter, I used to practice speaking, seeing in the mirror, right? Okay, that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that I used to do. For English, I started to learn more and more spoken English, right? Mostly, like I was preparing for GRE as well, right? So they have all these books, and from there learn. Google always helped, right? Google
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
helped. And most of the things, movies and seasons, right? When you go to
Yeah.
college, you start seeing English movies and English seasons. By the way, before I was in college, I never used to watch English movies or English seasons, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was introduced to that world when I was in college, right? And then I started.
Mm-hmm.
So when you listen a lot of people speaking English as well, right? You catch on fast, right? And uh,
Yes.
always subtitles were there. I'll pause it. If I don't understand, I'll search it. I'll come back. I'll play it, right? Those kind of things were. So yeah, I think my English definitely improved. But now I feel that English should not be a blocker. Even if I speak wrong, it's fine. As long
Mm-hmm.
as the other person can understand what I'm trying to say,
Yep.
it doesn't matter,
Yep. Yep.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So I think me understanding that people will, if people make fun out of your speech, it's fine, let them do it. It doesn't matter for you, right? Because if your knowledge is good, it's of no use, right? Just don't
Mm-hmm.
just ignore them, right? Okay, just don't get
Mm-hmm.
in your head. um, that helped me, but I think the most important thing that helped me to overcome this was after college, when I started
Mm-hmm.
when I started a job, right? And when I was good at it, when I started getting all the, good feedback and appraisals and all those things, right? It boosted my confidence. And then I started to understand, like, speech defects doesn't matter a lot, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that changed me a little bit on, and it gave me a lot of confidence to start talking and, not care about what other things actually.
Yeah. 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 And Gaurav, coming back to while coming back to the point where you were saying you were really good with your coding skills, but you were work in progress with your communication skills, and I think it's really evident with most of the developers out there, the best coders out there. I'm not saying all of them, but if you see the fraternity of developers, they're not really known for their communication skills, but if you look at their coding skills, they're really good at what they're doing,
Yeah.
right? So what do you think, for example, let's say a guy who's actually coming out of college, who's really good with the coding skills the way you are in your position, and while they're cracking their way into their first job, or starting their professional journey, it actually stays has a big road blocker, and I think it's true for most of the developers who are trying to start their journey. So how would you what would you advise for people like this? Because from your journey, you were at the same position, but you worked your way through it, right? So you actually see a lot of engineers day in and day out working in your own company. You've been part of the teams. You're actually running teams right now. So what would you advise for someone like that?
I think a big addition on what we can do more than that is, how good is your team? Okay.
Hmm.
Because your team needs to be supportive. Okay.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
right? Okay. Also a good leader or a manager, right? Okay.
Hmm.
Because you always need a mentor who can guide you and tell you at every step, where are you wrong? Or, what are
Yeah.
you wrong? Right. One of my more problem was, I speak too fast. Okay. I am trying to tone down a lot right now. Okay.
Hmm.
My speech speed is so fast, people don't understand me, right? So I always used to get feedback, Gaurav, when you speak, can you tone down your speed, right? Can you try to calm down yourself and think before speaking, right?
Hmm.
So that was a good feedback for me, right? Okay. But, when people have speech problems, there are n number of problems, right? Okay. So I think that right feedback from the team is very important, and then
Hmm.
a right opportunity for the person to overcome those overcome their challenges is also important, right? For example, what we used to do in our previous company, which I learned from one of my mentors, and now I am following
Hmm.
as well. Every Friday we set up an internal discussion where everyone has to present something new. Okay. It might be something that they worked on, it might be something that they read outside the work and they liked about it. It can be anything, something related to technical, right? Okay. And they have to present it. Okay. So when they present it to the smaller group, right? Okay, which they work with every day, they get, at least they're more confident in the unknown crowd, right? So they
Yeah.
start gaining more and more confidence, and
Hmm.
not only they start getting more and more confidence, this whole group is supposed to give them positive or feedbacks, right, on what they can work on or what they can improve, right? Okay. So constructive feedbacks on their
Hmm.
presentation, right? It can be how they have how they spoke, or how they created a slide, or how they presented the whole thing, right? Okay. But this kind of opportunity where a speaker is given a chance to speak to a smaller group of people on a regular basis and get feedback on regular basis definitely will help them improve their communication skills by a lot, right? I know because it has helped me, plus it has helped many of my teammates as well, right? Okay. So this is definitely something that can work. There are many things that
Hmm.
can work other than that, but I think this is the most important thing that worked for me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so how did you like start your journey? Like, was were you a front end engineer for the very first company that you cracked your way in, or were you in the back end or web, or how was your journey from that? And what were your major, turning points from your first company? I guess that's something that we learn most of the time, right? Like that's a very big shift from college to work and starting your career as a developer. So what all the, learnings that you got from your very first company, and how did you evolve as a, developer in your very first company?
I was always a back-end person more than front-end person. Okay. I started with, everyone starts with C, C++ in
Yeah.
right? Now it's different. Now Python has come in the colleges itself.
Yeah.
In my time, people used to start with Java, C, C++, right? Okay.
Hmm.
So I started with the same, right? Okay. But I was more interested in Java. I kept on learning Java on my own as well, outside my college curriculum as well, right? I used to study more and more about Java, about how the end-to-end software gets developed, right? Okay. One thing
Mhm.
that I faced at my college time was, the teaching about end-to-end software development was not that great, actually, right? Okay.
Mhm.
They go on their own pace. Maybe, people nowadays, I think it has changed a lot. Anyways, people know a lot about software development than before when I was in college. So at that time, it was there. So I started learning of those things on my own. So yeah, I was majorly learning Java related stuff. Okay.
Mhm.
I knew front end as well, but I was always bad at it. Okay. I'm still bad at it. Okay. I can get the work done, but I don't know the best practices. Okay. But in the back end, I know a lot of stuff, but that I'll come to that later, a little bit later on the game. So my first company was from my college itself, right? Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, so of course, I think most of the people, it holds true, right? They get their first placement from their college.
Yeah.
For my batch, I was the highest paid package because my job that I got was in Singapore. Okay, so I was
Hmm.
placed in Singapore. So ultimately, if you convert the money, it will automatically become the highest package,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But again, I think my first job, when I got my first job, it was basically based on my data structures and algorithm skills, right? They gave me some problem statements, I solved them, and yeah. So ultimately, first thing first was a home take assignment, right? They gave us an assignment.
Hmm.
They shortlisted some people from the assignment, and then face-to-face interviews were DS and algo problems. You have to solve them, and
Hmm.
so if you solve them, you get placed, right? Okay. So yeah, I got placed.
Hmm.
I was really happy. Suddenly from no one I became someone in my college, because since you became a highest package person, people give you more footage, right? Everyone is
Yeah.
giving footage, right? So
Yeah.
that's there. Uh, Before that, I failed many interviews, by the way. Before getting the highest paid jobs, I did
Mhm.
apply for more companies. I did fail many interviews, right? Okay, so there's nothing wrong in failing interviews, right? Because that's a part of your learning process as well, right? Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
You have to learn from each interview you provide, right?
Mhm.
You know it So I got the first job. I went to Singapore. I started working. The
Mhm.
first job is where you learn about the industry standards, right? Before that, uh,
Yes.
right now, there are internships and all those things. In my time, again, the internships are very limited. I never had internships properly, right? So my first job was the place where I was learning about all this ticketing system, how the jobs are, how the works are assigned, how the works are delivered, how the testing is done, how the deployment is done. All those things were learned in my first job itself. Uh, I was placed in a Japanese company. So it's in Singapore, but it was a Japanese ERP company. And everything was going good. But, the work that I was getting was more of a front end. And I have already told before how good I am at front end. So I thought,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is not my cup of tea. Let's move on, right? Uh,
Hmm.
Try to do is fail fast, right? I don't want to spend a lot of time on doing something and, then failing at it later, right? If I don't like something, I'll move on fast, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I failed fast. I started interviewing again. Okay. I knowingly aimed for startups. Okay. Because I wanted to take more responsibilities, right? I knew that if I go for big names, the work culture is a little bit different than startups versus the big companies, right? Okay. Both have their own advantages and disadvantages. But my choice was I wanted to go for a startup, right? Okay. I interviewed. I got into a company called Evive. I was a third developer there. Okay, that's the risk I took. Best risk of my life. Okay, uh, my learning curve, jumped a lot. Okay, because when there are less people, right, you're given more and more responsibilities. Now, once you have more responsibilities, you have two options: either you deliver that by working extra
Yeah.
hard, or you run away from it, right? Okay,
Yes.
I chose the first one, work hard and deliver it, right? Okay. So I used to work at office hours. After coming from the office hours, whenever I get time, I used to learn new things, right? Which are related to my development work, which are assigned to me already, right? Because it's just that they have already told me that I have to do this. It's just I don't know how to do this. As
Yeah.
simple as that,
Yes.
right? So I have to spend extra time learning new things, right? Okay. So I did that a lot. Okay. I expanded my work responsibilities. I was not even developing, I was testing, writing automation test cases. I was even learning about DevOps, how the deployment happens, how to write automation scripts. I was learning those things as well. Meanwhile, I was learning a little bit of front end as well. Right, because I wanted to take a role where I can deliver from beginning to end our product, right? I wanted to understand that completely, right? And you will not learn that until you learn a small thing about every department in the engineering, right? So not only
Yeah.
the backend engineering, the front end engineering, the DevOps, right, the support kind of profile as well. Even the product team, right? From the product team, how they create tickets, right? How they take the requirements and break down into the smaller story points. I used to learn about that. So yeah, I used to learn about all this, right? And in this company I stayed for 6 years, right?
6 years. Yeah.
For 6 years. And I grew with the company, right? Okay, when I left this company, the company had 200 employees as developers, right? So it was a great journey in this company for me as well. I learned a lot from the company. uh, Great mentors that I worked with. I think if I did not had them, I would have never learned, right? So I think great mentors and great leaders tell you what to learn, when to learn, and how to learn, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and they and this, it's not a generic advice that they give, right, that you have to learn all this. No, it's not like that, right? I think even when I work with my team, I give them very specific feedback on what they should learn next, or what should be their focus point based on their strengths and weaknesses, right? Okay. I don't think a generic formula will work across everyone, right? Because people have different interests, okay, and people have different strengths and different weaknesses, right? So I think people need to know that before they can give them a path for self-learning, right? Because this is not like a college learning where you can go and everyone has the same thing to learn and do that.
Yeah.
No, it's not that. There are a lot of options available. There are a lot of paths to be taken, right? But I think a person has to evaluate their team members and then guide them accordingly, right? Okay. So again, as I told you, great mentors that I had, great leaders I had. I was very lucky on that way, right? I was able to grow my technical skills as well as my soft skills, right? So what happened is after Evive, so let's say first year I was mostly into development, right? I was taking orders from my mentors. They used to explain me what to do. If I have some problem, I'll discuss with them and I'll do my solution and right. But slowly, as the team started to grow, right, my mentor trusted me on taking the roles of guiding other team members as well, right? Guiding and mentoring other team members as well, right? So they used to teach me on how to do that. So, I started managing 2 people, then 4 people, then 10 people, right? At the end, I was managing around 40 people when I left the company, right? Okay. So they used to teach me about soft skills. Okay. So when I say soft skills, it's just not communication skills, it's leadership skills, influential skills, right? Management skills, project management, time management, right? Okay. So there is, other than coding, there is I think there is a lot that goes outside coding as well, right? Okay. A good manager or a leader or a tech lead, whatever we call it, right, needs to know how to manage time, not only for themselves, but for their team. Okay.
Yeah.
Have good influential skills so that he can influence the product people with the right decisions. Okay. He should have good team management skills because he has to keep his team motivated and
Yeah.
in the right direction. So there are, I think, any developer, from their coding skills, they need to, brush up their soft skills as well, right? Okay.
Hmm.
And again, I don't expect people to start working on every aspects of soft skills, right? For some
Hmm.
people, it might be starting with the communication skills, right? Communication skills is just not talking, right? It's about how you write your emails, right? How you make sure that if there's a delay, you can communicate that properly, right? You can escalate to your leaders, your stakeholders, right? All those parts of a communication. Communication is about not only what to say, but when to say and how to say, right? Okay.
Yes.
And this can be written, verbal, anything, right? Okay. So that's the then influential skills, right? How you influence a decision, right? Okay. You cannot just tell that I'm taking this decision, right? Okay. Because it's not your alone decision. You have to provide
Yeah.
a valid data points, right? And then
Yeah.
influence others that you're making a right decision, right? So
Yeah.
skills are there, right? Time management skills are always there, right? You have to manage your time for your project. Not only your time, you have to help your team manage their time as well, right? Okay. So all those things are very important. So yeah, I think that is what I learned the most.
Hmm.
Again, when I'm saying I'm putting more focus on soft skills, that doesn't mean that you let go of your coding skills.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
goes hand
Definitely.
in hand, right? Okay, this goes hand in hand.
Yes.
If you're improving your coding skills, improve your soft skills,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. 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 And Gaurav, I think you also mentioned and focused the importance of having a mentor, right, on your journey of Imbibe with 6 years.
Yes.
And you actually mentioned a lot of time that they really helped you to, learn the people skills as a
Yes.
developer, which I think is the most important right now if you're, climbing up the ladder as a developer, right?
Yes.
And when you kind of, started working, it was three developers. I think you were the third one. And then when you left, it was 200, which is exponential.
Yes.
And what were your major learnings as a developer while you were managing a team? And why do you think mentorship is really important for any developer to have it in their career?
Major learning, if you say tech wise, I think they're
Mm-hmm.
unlimited. Okay, to be
Mm-hmm.
very frank, I really don't have any gauge system to gauge it. Like how can I measure how much learnings I had? I learned about NoSQL, I learned about backend, I learned about DevOps. I told you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've learned about every aspects of engineering, in details, right? And it's not I
Mm-hmm.
learned in one go, right? I took one piece at a time, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You start with something small and then you go deeper and deeper into their basics
Yeah.
and understand into major things, right? Learn the best practices about the engineering and everything, right? So technical side, uh, I think the learning that I had was the most, like that's the most learning I have ever had, even more than my college, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that those 6 years were the most, uh, you know, what I say is biggest learning curve of my life, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, I'm talking about technical as right now. From NoSQL to AWS to serverless architecture to everything, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think that's there. Importance of having a mentor, right? Okay, let's say talk about that. That is really important because when let's say there is a newcomer, right? Okay. Uh, so we have little bit gaps in our education system. Okay. Our
Yeah.
education system doesn't teach us what we need in the company, by the way. It's
Mm-hmm.
getting better and better, but it's not there, right? Okay. So when a newcomer joins a company, right? Okay. If he doesn't get a proper guidance, okay, he might be lost. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if that particular having a good mentor can guide that person to become better every day, right? Okay. And it's a good thing for the mentor to do it as well, right? Because if a
Mm-hmm.
person improves, right, a lot of the work for the mentor can be delegated to that person, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And the company excels, right? So it's a win-win situation, right? I think, again, the major problem is, if you don't have a good mentor, you will not get a proper feedback, right? Okay.
Mm.
If you don't have a proper feedback, your learning will come to a pause, right?
Yeah.
And tech is a industry where if your learning pauses, okay, you
Mm-hmm.
have no use, okay.
Yeah,
You have to learn every day, okay. You
yeah,
have to keep on learning. There will be new advances in technologies every day, and you have to be at par with it. You have to understand the new advancements. You have to learn new advancements, and then you have to be par with it, right? So you have
yeah.
to learn every day, and if there is not proper guidance, you will be lost. You will not understand about these new things. You will definitely work in a company, but your growth rate will be very less, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the reasons to choose startup. In startup, the growth rate is more, right? Okay.
Mm.
Certainly when you are taking a smaller startup, of course, higher risk, right? Okay. But higher gains as well, right? Okay. So there's a high chance that the mentors at a startup will be giving you more time than the mentors at big names companies. There's a high,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying it's always true. There's a high chance that you will get more attention in a startup, uh, because they have limited resources that they have to work with. So they will make sure the resources that they have get better.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
It's
yes,
a
definitely.
relationship with them, right? So
Yeah.
they will invest in your growth, right? Okay. So again, having a good mentor tells you what to learn, when to learn, how to learn, right? Okay. That's very important. Again, there is not a single when, how, and what is there's not a single thing for that, right? It depends on person to person, right? So a good mentor is a person who works with his team members closely, understands them, and guides them based on his performance, not a
Yeah.
cookie cutter kind of thing. Oh, do this,
Yes.
you will be good. No, that cannot happen, right? Because
Yes.
he's
Yes.
already good at it. Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And Gaurav, looking at your journey in Revive, right? So you started as a backend engineer over there, and then you got your hands in everything, and then you shifted your, a journey to architect, software architect, right? How was this shift, and what really inspired you to like shift that?
I
And
think
then you went to a manager level, and then you pursued your way through the as a software architect in that company. So what was the shift and the motivation behind that?
I think software architect is not a shift, by the way. It's normally is the same progression actually, right? You become a
Mm-hmm.
software developer, senior software developer. Now we have principal engineers, and then similar to principal
Mm-hmm.
staff engineers is software architect, right? Okay, it's just a different terminology that is happens, right? So it was not a shift. It was more of a getting and taking more and more responsibilities about the software. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I started with a small responsibilities. I used to get a small piece of code, bug or enhancement, get that done, right? Okay. At the end of the day, when you become software developer, software architect, you get a very high level requirement, and then you have to make sure that you design a system that can handle all those high level requirements with the high
Yeah.
level design and the low level design of those
Yeah.
things, right? Being at if I was a growing startup, right? Okay, so I was not only a software architect, I was already playing a dual role where I was acting as a software architect, and I was also acting as a development manager as well, right? So I was managing the
Mm-hmm.
team as well, and I was playing the role of a software architect as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, and I was pretty much confused, if I want to just stick at software architect or I want to start people management, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then I started getting feedback that I am good at people management, right? So I should definitely
Mm-hmm.
try it. And then I think I got an opportunity to set up a team from scratch as a director of engineering. So I thought, let's take that, let's try that. A
Mm-hmm.
new learning for me, right? So I took that, and that's when I started creating my own team from scratch, right? Okay. When I say my own team from scratch, that means hiring, creating process. When I say creating process, it's just not hiring process, development process, leave process, every process of how to manage an engineering team, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was responsible for that, right? So it was again a big challenge for me. I was definitely scared, but I was excited at the same time
Mm-hmm.
in this challenge, because as a person, I like to learn new things, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a person who does the same thing again as a everyday process. It gets bored. Okay, so after 6 years, when I thought at Evive, my learning curve will come to a halt now, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so I took a decision like, okay, let's do a bit bigger. Let's take a bigger responsibility, and I took a bigger responsibilities, and from then again I took another bigger responsibilities, right? So yeah, I think, but since I'm in a startup, I'll say a lot doesn't change. Okay, I I still do code reviews, okay, but extra responsibilities get added, okay, like creating the test processes, making sure you are managing the team, their leaves, their appraisals, their pay cycles, everything, right? So those extra responsibilities comes in, right? Okay, but the old responsibility still stays, okay, because if you're working on a startup, you have to be hands-on, right? I cannot delegate 100% to my team. Uh,
Yeah.
Even if I delegate some task, I like to be on top of it. I would like to know how the system is working. Ultimately, my responsibility to manage the whole engineering. So if I don't
Yeah.
know how my product is working as per engineering, I'm
Yeah.
definitely doing something wrong, right? So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I think the motivation is to just do more and more. That's all, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, uh, Tech is something that I'm always excited about. I already told you, right? I was always interested about tech from my childhood, and it always keeps me on my toes. So tech is always a motivation for me. Plus,
Hmm.
uh, you know, knowing more and more, what can I do more? Okay, what I can take more responsibilities. How can I do more and more? Is something that drives me, right? Okay,
Hmm.
so yeah.
So and Gaurav, like in your 6 years of working with Revive and climbing up the ladder gradually while you were like taking more responsibilities as an architect or maybe as a manager, what were the major projects that you worked while working in Revive that really had a major impact on your career or maybe the teams that you're working in that helped you to scale your team on a bigger level? So yeah,
Yeah.
any level.
Yeah. Again, in Evive, I think I worked on multiple projects, right? Okay. In 6 years, you can understand how much projects
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
worked on, right? Okay. But I think in Evive, I have worked on almost everything which is important to create a software, to be very frank. Okay. At scale. But I think one of my biggest learning point was when I was working on something called ETL. ETL is extract, transform, load. Okay, it's a
Mhm.
process by which you ingest data in your system, right? Okay,
Hmm.
data can be either through APIs or through files. If I've had to ingest a lot of data from files, okay, uh,
Hmm.
and each file is of different format and different structures, and then this data is huge data, right? Every day we are processing 100 GB, more than 100 GBs of data to start with,
Yeah,
and all those
yeah.
things. Okay, and then you have to process it fast, right? Okay, so setting up a complete product which can handle this whole ETL for the company was the
Mhm.
biggest major project that I did from scratch. Okay, I have worked on many projects before that also, but this was my first on
Hmm.
scratch project or product, right? Okay, so that was very important for me as a learning point, right? Okay, uh, also when I did this, it was not like a final product was done in the first go, right? Okay,
Mhm.
initially we were doing it completely from code, right? And when I left it,
Hmm.
we took it to a level where a non-developer can set up a ingestion pipeline using just a UI, right? Okay, they don't need to code anything, right? They can just
Hmm.
it's a SaaS kind of platform where you can a non-developer can just from the requirement itself, they can use the UI to create a ingestion pipeline, data ingestion pipeline.
Mhm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, initially when I did, I never had an idea of how this SaaS kind of platforms are created, right? Where people can just
Mhm.
set up using UI, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
learning that helped me a lot. It gave me a lot of idea on creating new products in our system, which
Mm-hmm.
can help our business, right? Okay. For example, I was able to identify that onboarding of people were done manually, right? Where developers are doing some scripts to set up a client, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we took the same thing that we did with the ETL and created a onboarding platform for the clients where clients can onboard themselves, right? Okay. Uh, so those kind of suggestions were able to identify and provide and deliver it as well, right? So
Mm-hmm.
definitely these two items were very important in my journey, right? One was the ETL and one was creating a SaaS kind of platform where customers can onboard ourselves. There were multiple more projects. Of course, they were all equally important, but I feel that these two are important. Technically, I think there was one more project which helped me grow technically. Was There was something called Best Match. It's a product, internal product for them, where people can search for doctors. Okay, it helped me to understand how search engines works. Okay, how
Mm-hmm.
Elasticsearch works, right? So I grew a lot on Elastic Tech Stack, okay, which I had never worked on before. That gave me a good learning, something I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know about. But to
Yeah,
build that, I had to go read about it and deliver it accordingly, right? So
yeah,
I think these three were very important
yeah, yeah.
projects for me. Again, I feel that all the projects that came were definitely important
Yes,
for my
yes.
learning, but I think these three were on top of my
The
head,
major part.
on top of my head,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes. And Gaurav, coming to the parts where you were actually working with the very new technologies, let's say SaaS was something that was introduced that time while you were working, which you were not aware of, right? So how did you stay current with the latest advancement and development in the field? And how did you like refine your technical skills going forward and working with something new and also like managing a team um, going, yeah.
Yeah. So I think you need to follow a lot of tech blogs, right? I read a
Mhm.
lot of tech blogs. That's the first thing, right? Okay. If you get a chance, sign up for newsletters as well, right? There are many forums, tech forums, right? You can go there. You can sign up for these newsletters. When I end my day, I normally go through my newsletters and my tech blogs, right? I normally read some interesting article, I'll bookmark it, I'll read that in details later, but at least I'll know that some advancement has happened, right? So tech blogs and newsletters are very important, right? Tech events, right? Like a lot of even big companies creates this tech events, right? Try to be part of it, right? You will get to know a lot. For example, AWS reInvent and all those things, right? You don't have to go there. There are online streamings as well, which you can watch and be part of those tech events, right? So be part of those tech events, right? I think me personally, I use mostly these three things. Okay. So tech blogs, tech videos as well, right? Tech blogs, tech videos, tech newsletters, tech events, right? And if something is very interesting, I want to learn that in very deep, I can find books for them, or a lot of like a lot of software now already have good documentation, right? So I start with that. Actually, I start reading about that, look for books and then going there. But the start of understanding a new advancement, 90% of my time is from tech blogs and tech newsletter. 10% it's like, talking to friends and colleagues, and they telling me, oh, have you read that? Have you do you know about this advancement, right? All those things, right? So uh, that's there. But once you start reading this tech blogs and tech newsletter, one thing that Google does is it will start giving you similar suggestions as well, right? So Google will do a job for you. So start reading that and you will start getting the news by uh, by Google anyways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's definitely something that we have to invest while you're working, right? Because most of the people, I think, most of us are very constrained with our jobs, working 9 to 5, and learning is something that is kind of left out at the end of the day, and we're back to the same thing, working again and again. And I think learning, while you were expanding your domain, you also gave the priorities of learning to the other technologies or maybe the domains teams that you were switching, and how were you climbing up the ladder of the tech, right? And coming to that part, Gaurav, so from your team, I think growing a team even to 10% is a big deal, right? And from 3 to 200 of the team of engineers that you've been working with at Evive, right? What was the biggest challenge you faced in while doing that, and what were your biggest learnings while you were growing and scaling up the team, while it comes to sustainability and the work and the innovation that you guys were trying to crack in the way of developing technologies and everything? Yeah.
Yeah. Before I come to this answering this question, right, I'll take a step back and I will tell you about the learning that I missed something before telling that, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying we are working 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
I will suggest everyone to take 1 hour extra daily, okay, to
Yes.
learn
Yes.
something, read something, okay,
Yeah.
about tech, right? At least 1 hour daily and 3 to 4 hours on the weekend, right? Please try to take this time out. It will help you grow a lot, okay? Uh,
Mhm.
so I know people get tired with the work and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
but this 1 hour will
Would
will
really
help you
change.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, will help you
Yeah.
a lot, right? Okay. Now coming to like what are the difficulties that I faced from 3 to 200 developers, right? Okay.
Yes.
Um, I think when you learn people management, right, or people skills, right? Okay, it has a lot of learning curve in terms of you cannot get a book knowledge, right? It's experience knowledge that you will get actually
Mhm.
because there are n number of scenarios, and every scenarios you have to handle it differently, right? Okay,
Mhm.
so I think the biggest challenge the manager can face when managing a team is people conflict. Okay,
Mhm.
this people conflict can be within your team, across different teams, right?
Yeah.
Okay, across different verticals, right? It can be between product and engineering person, anything, right? uh,
Yeah.
so if there is a conflict between two members or two or more members, right? Okay, uh, uh, the way we need to handle it, it's completely dependent on the situation. There is no right formula for it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because you cannot say how to handle it, right? Of course, I normally encourage the team that if they have if they have some conflict, they should try to resolve by themselves, right? Okay, but if they don't, if they are not able to resolve that themselves, it gets escalated to the managers. Sometimes it gets escalated, sometimes it's pretty evident that they are not getting well together,
Yes.
right? So you
Yes.
you have
Yeah.
to step in on that as well. But that's the biggest challenge that I have faced. Okay, one thing that I learned again from the CEO of EY itself, right? He used to tell us in his all hands about API. So this API is a little bit different. This API is called assume positive intent. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you're talking to someone, always assume positive intent. Okay, because the other person, whatever he's saying or doing, okay, he's having a positive intent about the company when he's doing that. Not only about the company, he's having a positive
Mm-hmm.
intent towards you when he's doing that, right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of time when you keep this thought process in your mind, okay, it will resolve a lot of conflict. Okay, because people normally have conflicts when they are insecure right,
Yes.
about their work or about anything, right? Okay,
Yeah.
or they don't trust the other person, right? These are the major two reasons for the conflicts actually, right?
Yes.
uh, but if we are able to teach about API, assume positive intent, and if you are able to teach team to trust each other, right? Okay, logically the major of the conflicts will go away. Okay, you will still have some conflicts, right? The humans are like that. There will be some conflicts no matter what you do, but then you don't have to deal with a lot of conflicts, a small portion
Mm-hmm.
of it, right? So this is something that I learned from him, which helped
Mm-hmm.
a lot when I was setting up newer teams at later stage of my career, right? So that was very important, right? Second thing, uh, you know which is important is trust the team, right? Again, like similar to having positive intent, you have to trust your team members as well, right? uh, we should not micromanage anyone. Instead, we still should delegate and follow. Follow up is different than micromanagement, right? One of the biggest challenges that I have seen in the team when grow, there are people who micromanage other people's, right? Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
And that's again a biggest problem, right? Okay, when it comes to delivery or performance of the person as well, because the person who gets micromanaged gets frustrated so easily, and then
Yes.
either he'll leave the job or he'll not get the work done properly. Okay, so I think as a manager, I need to make sure that I'm not micromanaging. Also, people who are reporting to me are also not micromanaging other people, right? Okay. So I think these were the two major problems when I faced, when the team was growing, because these are the two common things that will always happen. In a fast growing team, you will find conflicts and micromanaging as the biggest problems, according to me.
Yes.
It might not be
Yes.
100% correct, but
Yes.
these are the major problems that I faced. And, this both can be handled by trusting the team and using API. So yeah, I think it helped me a lot in managing the team, managing the growing team actually.
Yeah. 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 So, Gaurav, what according to you is the culture, for a developer now that you've been, managing a lot of teams, and now that you listed down the few pointers which actually helps to, form a better team while you're scaling up and, trying to sustain your team for a longer run. What according to you should be the culture around so that, can help the workforce to be better and efficient at the end of the day? Be it the company, the Evive that you've been working in, the current company, Pintar, that you've been, leading the
Hmm.
whole engineering team, right? What's the whole culture you kind of built around, or something that you, worked your way to just have the amazing work at the end of the day? Yeah.
I think culture is very important when it comes to the team. Okay, because when I say culture, positive culture, right? Okay,
Yeah.
there are multiple parts of it, right? There are unlimited things. I'll give some examples of what kind of comes first for me. That right. Uh, First thing first, trust in the team, right? Okay, so the team has to be trusted, right? Okay, no micromanaging the team, no micro questioning the team, right? Okay, right. Sometimes what happens is, if it's a software, right? Things gets delayed, right? Let's talk about that. Things get delayed, right? People should be answering the questions if something goes wrong, definitely, but no one should be blamed for it, right? Okay,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
giving them a platform where people can ask questions without hurting someone's, without some questioning someone's hard work is very important, right? That can only be built by a trusting team, right? Okay, and ownership, right? Ownership is very important when it comes to the team culture. When I say ownership, you need to promote your team in such a way that they take ownership of their work, right? Okay.
Hmm.
uh, if I have to manage the team like a micromanager, the team is doing something wrong, right? uh,
Yeah.
the team should be able to take the ownership of the task. Okay, ask when they need help, escalate when there's something goes wrong, and
Mhm.
be transparent to everyone in the team, right? Okay, so that is very important while building the culture as well. Okay, um, that's there. One thing I try to do is, this is not part of a normal culture, but it's a little bit different. Okay, code reviews. Okay, uh,
Mhm.
so when you come to the engineers, code review is indirectly a part of a culture. Okay, because a lot of fight happens when code review happens, right? Okay, I have a big document created for code review, which I give to every person who onboards my team. Okay, so in that there are some disclaimers. Okay, so one of the disclaimers says that any points given for the code review is for the code, not for the person, so don't take it personally. Okay, so normally I encourage the team to when they give feedback, right,
Hmm.
provide constructive feedback, right? Okay, instead of just making statements, right? Okay,
Yes. Yes.
that's very important, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately, I think when we build culture, right, most of the times, the culture of the company will depend on how the culture between the team members are, right? How they communicate with each other. Are they, they are trusting each other or not? They are taking their work seriously or not, right? So whenever I build culture, I try to put these points in check, right? Okay, as simple as
Hmm.
If
Yes.
my team is taking ownership, yes. If my team is communicating well, yes. If my team is trusting each other, yes. Am I trusting the team, yes or not? Is the team trusting me? Okay, that's also important,
Hmm.
right? Then one more important aspect is keeping an open platform where the team can reach out to anyone. Okay,
Hmm.
so the team should be free, or they should feel free to reach out to anyone within the team. Okay,
Yeah.
it should not be like that. Okay, since you report to that person, you can go through that person and that person will talk to me. It doesn't work like that, right? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
uh,
Yes.
you should be available as well, right? I am available always on Slack. My phone number is with everyone. I have told everyone, feel free to call me anytime. If I'm busy, I'll not pick up the call. I will get back to you as soon as I can get back to you. But
Hmm.
don't make that, don't hesitate that if I'm busy and don't call me. If you need me, call me. That's fine. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes.
if I'm busy, I'll not answer that. As simple as that, right? Okay.
Yes.
But anyone, any problem, they should be able to reach out to me, talk to me. Not only with me, right? Everyone should feel the same with everyone in the team, right? So
Yes.
I think that culture is very important as well, right? Okay, a flat hierarchy kind of culture where people can reach out to anyone. It doesn't matter, right? Okay,
Yes.
and of course, as I told you, constructive feedback. People should
That's
feel free to provide constructive feedback. Also, people should be able to take those constructive feedbacks in a positive manner, right? Okay, transparency is very important, right? Okay,
yes.
I think these are very important things, right? And respecting each other, right? So when you're talking to each other, give minimum respect to the other person.
Yes.
Do that.
Yes. Yep.
So that's always there.
Yeah. And how did like Pintra happen? And what made you like excited and something that motivated you to work with that company? And how did you land up a role as a VP of engineering? And did you work your way through it, or was it something that
Yeah.
you were approached for something around that? Yeah.
Yes, I think Pintar, there are multiple parts of this questions actually, right? So, of course, what motivated me to join Pintar is I think Pintar is something that I've not done in my previous companies, right? So it was providing me opportunity to learn about video streamings, right? Pintar is
Hmm.
a tech company, right? It's an Indonesian-based tech company, but it's an education tech company where they
Hmm.
do a lot of live streamings and videos, streaming of videos and everything, right? Okay. And in my career, in Vive, I did everything. In Felix, I was doing machine learning, AI, but I had never done a video stream, right? So something new to learn, right? Uh,
Hmm.
that's a check mark for me to do it. Um, uh, how did I come to know about Pintar? I think it was through a common friend slash mentor. I have worked with him before. He reached out to me saying that there's a company who needs to set up an R&D in India, and
Hmm.
he thought that I might be a good fit. So he
Hmm.
introduced with the other person. I took the interview, right? We had a discussion. I think our thoughts aligned on how we want to run the team, how we see the product, what is the mission of the company, all those things aligned. Plus a new learning for me, right? Okay.
Hmm. Yes.
So everything all the pieces fit together, and that's how Pintar happened, right? Okay. um, and yeah, I'm enjoying my work in Pintar. Great team, right? Okay, a new experience in terms of working with an Indonesian company as well, right? Okay.
Hmm.
Before that, I worked only with US companies, right?
Yes.
So now working with Indonesian company, a new culture, right? A new work culture to understand, right? So that was also interesting. Work is really interesting. The team is awesome, right? So all those things are there. And yeah, it's still running. I hope I spend more years in Pintar like I did in Revive.
Yes, yes. And while you're running a team at Pintar, right, as a VP of engineer, so what size of the team you're managing, and what is your vision going forward, and
Yeah.
the missions that you're trying to accomplish on a daily basis as a VP of engineer? Yeah.
So as of now, I think in engineering, I'm managing around 30 people. This 30 people are
Hmm.
including both in India and Indonesia. Uh,
Yeah.
we actually had more people before. We had around 45 to 50 people. But
Hmm.
again, seeing the current scenarios of the things, right? We actually correct size our company as well, right?
Yeah.
We had to downsize a bit. We had to reprioritize our priorities and, work with a smaller team so that we can survive this situation that we are.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, the current team size is 30 members in the engineering team. Plus I am not managing, but I am mentoring some of the product team members as well, right? Around 5 members
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Yes.
So, what are the major like projects that you've been working on right now? And I think it's been 1 year and
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
So, any major projects that you would like to highlight while you've been like managing and working as a mentor? Yep.
So ultimately, when I joined Pintar, the main reason that I joined Pintar is we wanted to launch a V2 of the Pintar product, right?
Yeah.
Pintar was known as Haruka Edu before. So
Yeah.
it was named as Haruka Edu and Pintaria. There were two companies before,
Yeah.
part of the same company, actually, two brands before. And then we rebranded completely into Pintar. Pintar
Mm.
means smart. Pintar in Indonesia means smart. Okay. So I think we don't have projects here. Our vision is to very straight. We have a product, a single product to deliver here.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Now this product has multiple features, but we have one product in our head. This product has three verticals, three big parts. One we call is skills. It's an open learning platform where people can come buy courses and learn courses. One vertical is called degrees, where we have tied up with the universities and we provide courses,
Mm.
university courses through our platform, right? Okay. And you get degrees once you complete it, right? It's not like a certificate. You actually get the college degree when you complete it, right? And the third one is called enterprise, where enterprises onboards their employees to do some compliances and trainings and learnings, actually, right? I think last year we completely worked on focusing on this enterprise vertical. Currently, we are focusing on degrees vertical, and the next we'll be focusing on the skills vertical, right?
Yeah.
For now, enterprise is completely modernized. Degrees and skills are still running on the old platforms, okay?
Yeah.
But we plan to move degrees by June or July.
Yeah.
Sure. And then skills after that, right? Okay.
Yes.
So it's one product divided into three parts, right? Okay.
Yeah.
We're working on that right now.
Yes. So, Gaurav, how does your day look like at Pintar and, working as a VP of engineering? So, how's the whole day and what do you do like
Yeah.
a day in the life of like Gaurav as a VP engineer? So, how would it be at
Yeah.
Pintar?
So different day, sometimes it's different, but I'll just talk about generically how it looks like. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely, I start with my day by checking my calendar and my to-do list, right, on what I need to do. I normally have, sometimes I have early meetings with a product team in Indonesia because they are early with us, right? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
in the morning, I have meetings, maybe a leadership meeting with the leadership team, right?
Yeah.
I'm heading engineering, someone is heading the content, someone heading the learnings, right? So there are different teams where each leaders of those teams, we meet together once a week, right, to just follow up among other, right, on what has been done, are there any blockers or what's coming next, right, to discuss the small
Mhm.
things, right?
Yeah.
So either this meeting or I have meeting with the product team to understand what's coming in, to discuss the priorities, all those things, right? Okay. Then I normally, there are sprints meetings. I join them sometimes. I don't join them sometimes, depending on my availability. I can follow up with my teams, right? Then normally I have my follow-up meetings with my team members. Okay. Mostly it can be one-to-one or it can be, 2-to-1. I'm really sorry. Give me 1 second. There is no one at house and I have to open the gate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Only
definitely.
one at the gate. Give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry.
Yes. Sure. 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 And for all the people who are actually watching us live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and if you guys are having any questions that you would like to ask Gaurav regarding anything like the journey he shared, and if you're aspiring to be for what is working right now, and if there's anything that you want to ask him personally about, let's say the projects or how's the career growth and what's something ahead for you that he could help you out with, make sure that you could drop your questions in the chat, and I would have the last 5 minutes of the segment for audience questions. And if you guys have any questions for Gaurav, we'll be more than happy to answer. Yeah, Gaurav. Yes.
Sorry, where?
I think your voice is not audible.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, where were we? We were talking about three verticals we talked about, and I think you were asking something else as well. Yeah, day-to-day
The
life.
day.
The day
Yeah. Yeah.
life. Yeah. So meetings. So I have follow-up meetings with the team, right? Okay. Normally, how is their task going on? What is the status on the task? It's mostly these are the 10 to 15 minutes catch up. It can be with multiple people at the same time if they're working on the same thing, or it can be one-to-one as well, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Another things that I need to do is particular one-on-ones. Again, like I don't do one-on-ones with everyone every day, but with my direct
Mhm.
reports, I have many direct reportees, right? So if you see every day of a week, I'll at least have one-on-one with each people. If this one-on-one is used to understand their day-to-day life, right? Their feedback for us, okay, where they are struggling, how I can help him, right? Also, I use this one-on-one to give them their feedback on how they're working, where they can improve on, right? Okay. So I do this one-on-one meetings with my direct reportees, or sometimes my indirect reportees as well. Just the frequency is
Yes.
a little bit lesser, right? That's there. Then my another part of process is code review. I always try to do at least 1 hour code review a day.
Yeah.
If not code review, the design reviews as well, right? Right. If something a new feature is coming, right, on how we are planning
Yes.
to completely design that, that's also goes on that design review, or you can call it brainstorming. Sometimes it's brainstorming, sometimes it's a review. If I'm available, I like to get on a call and do the brainstorming on the call itself. If I'm not available, my team does the brainstorming, and then quickly we can get on a call later that where they explain what they are thinking. Sometimes I ask them questions, more questions. Sometimes they are perfect, so it's all gets approved, right? So
Yes.
that happens. Right. Other than that, sometimes it goes on coding as well, right? I do coding as well sometimes. So the rest of the day goes into coding, right? So this is majorly how it looks my day to day, right? Sometimes meetings with clients as well, right? Okay,
Mhm.
prospective clients as
Yeah.
well. So meetings with prospective clients as well. Not a lot, but definitely sometimes whenever the prospective clients wants to meet the technical team, I'm part of it for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. And Gaurav, in the light of the current market situation with layoffs, now that you mentioned you're also like managing a team, so you know what it takes, to lay off someone, and you know the market. On the other hand, you know how the market is performing in the recession, and how you're able to manage both of that hand in hand to just like get your team going forward. What do you think of the future holds for the tech industry, and how can engineers prepare for it?
I think future will be bright again. I still believe in the tech industry. I think this is just a small step back, or a small hiccup in the long journey, right? Okay. I hope it gets over soon. I don't have any particular idea in mind when it will get over. But I think tech industry will bounce back harder, right? Okay, so things are gonna get better. I have my hopes high on tech industry completely.
Yeah.
The small hiccup that we all have to face, right? I think after Corona, I think a lot of companies have overhired, or they were very bullish about their deadlines and
Yes.
everything, right? So I
Yes.
think it's more of a correction happening. But if you see,
Mhm.
I think even the layoffs, the people are getting job opportunities, right? It's not like they're not
Yes.
getting the job opportunities.
Yes.
It's just like the talents are getting distributed. That's all. Okay. So I think a little bit right sizing or correction will happen definitely. But after that, the tech industry will bounce back even stronger. Uh,
Yeah.
that's my take on the current situation. It's just a small hiccup in a long journey. That's all. Mhm.
Yes, yes. And what do you see as the biggest opportunity for growth and development in the tech industry in the next few years, let's say, and how are you preparing yourself and your team and your company for that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there are multiple things that can grow, right? There are a lot of things happening, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Biggest thing is AI and machine learning, right? Okay.
Yes.
More than AI. Now AI is getting on everything. Wherever you go, it's AI, right? Everything
Yes.
AI. Now ChatGPT has taken the
Taken on the, yeah, all over the place.
whole discussion away, right? Okay. Then Google is creating the rival, and everyone is
Mm.
crazy about ChatGPT. What is it? It's AI, right? Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
Second thing that I think will boom is IoT, right? Okay. So AI with combined IoT scopes are increasing day by day, right? Okay. I think there was a revolution where software took over everything, right? Okay. Now, the
Mhm.
next revolution is where AI will take over everything, right? The
Yes.
software
Yes.
2.0, right? So the software 2.0 will take everything. So I think AI will be the major advancements. Okay.
Mhm.
I myself am learning AI, right? I am trying to learn AI as much as possible. Um, I am not very good at it. I have just started, I'll say. But whenever I get chance, I try to learn about the models, how model works, how are the different kind of models,
Mm.
how the training happens, how the data cleaning happens, right? All those things. I'm learning about AI. I
Mm.
see that if people have some interest on AI, they can
Yeah.
start learning about it. I'm running learning using blogs and everything. Maybe I'll take some course later, or I can follow some books as well. You know, I have one mentor also who is good at it, so he's helping me on how to learn as well. But you guys
Mhm.
reach out to, there will be people that you know that who knows AI as well, right?
Yeah.
You can reach out to them. You can just get some blogs. There are so many blogs, right? Just take a starting point, start learning, and then you'll create a path for yourself, right?
Yes.
uh, yeah, I've not started learning anything in IoT. That's something I would
Yeah.
like to start. I have not gotten a chance to do it. But yes, at least AI I want to be in par with. So I've definitely taken AI seriously right now, and I am learning.
Mhm. Yes, yes. And what do you think are the skills necessary for developers to grow and advance in their careers? Let's say the chat GPT and the evolution of the AI that we are actually witnessing it right now.
Yeah.
Any other skills or besides AI and ML, do you think is there any other skills that they should be like, well versed with or maybe get themselves like hands on with going forward?
So for developers, I'll tell one thing. They definitely need good technical skills, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But technical skills changes with new technologies every time, right? There was Java, there was Go, Python, newer version of Java, newer version of Python, next
Yes.
Node.js, right? It's keep on evolving. It's keep on changing, right? So you need to have very strong basics in your algorithms and data structures. That's always required. Okay, always focus on data structures and algorithm. They are your pillars of your buildings, right? Okay,
Hmm.
because even a technology changes, this does not change a lot.
Change.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so they are the pillars. Be strong in them, and keep a attitude and aptitude for learning always, right? Okay,
Hmm.
because see, today's chat GPT, tomorrow will be something else. Okay.
Yes.
uh, you can only grow if you are learning whatever comes every year. Right.
Yes. Yes.
So keep your basics strong and keep on learning new things which you feel you require for your job, right? Because now there are too many things, right? Okay, so
Yes.
a person cannot learn too many things as well, right? Okay, so me telling them just pointing out one or two things won't make sense here. Okay. uh,
Yeah.
Best, they keep an open mind for learning, and they learn whatever is required and best for them at that time of their journey, right? I'll say, right? So yeah, it's gonna change at every stage of their journey. It's gonna be different for everyone. I can say, be strong in your tech basics. Okay.
Yes, yes. And any advice would you give for aspiring engineering managers who are just like starting out from your experience and knowledge? So, what would that be?
I think for new managers, right, the people who are willing to get managers, I think, uh, first of all, find one mentor who can guide you. Okay. Right. And second, don't be hesitant for ask for help. Okay. When you are new manager, you're learning new things, feel free to take advice from many people, right? Don't
Mm.
uh, don't react on some situations. take your time to understand the situation and take actions accordingly. A lot of times, if you react to a situation, that might be a wrong thing to do. Okay, it might be it might be a hurried decision to act in a certain way, right? So take your time. Do not take hurried decisions. Take your time to understand the situation, and then act upon it instead of uh, running to an conclusion and acting on it, right? Ask for help as much as possible, ask for guidance as much as possible, uh, and keep on learning your managing skills, right? Okay, when you're first becoming a manager, you're expected to manage your team, right? So your people skills has to be improved. There are blogs to teach you people skills as well.
Yeah.
There are blogs where people will give you fake scenarios and tell you how you can act on those scenarios. Read those scenarios as well. It will give you idea
Hmm.
how can you handle a situation as simple as that, right? Okay, again, all situations are different, but you will know what's the best similar situation and how to tackle that situation is always helps, right? To read a blog on that, right? Read blogs on time management, how to manage time, how to manage your team's time, right? um, uh, Again, build a good culture, right? Try to build a relationship with your team members as well, right? Okay, uh, you know it's not only employee relationship, they should be able to trust you, right? In my journey of 10 years, I'll say 90% of the people I'm connected with, okay, I'm still connected with. If I send them a message, they will still talk to me, they'll still answer me, right? Of course, 100% is not achievable. uh,
Yeah.
10% who will not get well with you, right? Okay, that's always there. But building a good relationship with your team members is very important, right? Okay.
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
that's very important, right? And you can take help and guidance from your person, that I told you, right? Find a mentor for you first, right? It can be your manager, it can be your friend, it can be your parents, it can be anything, but you have to find one mentor who has some experience in managing people and who you can share your scenarios with and ask for their help, right? Okay. So that's there. I think reading and learning from them is the best you can do.
Yes, yes. And I think one last question around the advice. What are the few mistakes that you have, did if uh, had it around your journey, sorry,
Yeah.
and if you could change any few things, let's say if you could retrospect your journey, looking at back, and then if you had to like maybe advise, or if there's any mistakes that you want to rectify it, what would that be from your journey?
So I think I have made many mistakes, of course, right, in my journey. As I told you, I learned by doing things, right?
Yeah.
Doing things, right? So I did many mistakes. I'm not sure I would like to rectify it or not. Of course, I would rectify going forward. I cannot go, I don't want to go back and
Yeah.
rectify because I would not have learned this anyways, right? So every mistake that I did is a learning, definitely. In terms of let's say in terms of management, I definitely like I already told you guys this, right? Do not hurry on a decision, right? Don't react, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
All the inputs, take your time to make a decision, right? I
Yes.
rushed into decision, okay, which works a lot of times but doesn't work a lot of times as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
So I think take time to gather your data inputs and then act accordingly. That's one thing. I have done that previously sometimes, which did not create a lot of problem but definitely created some problem, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think when I was a new manager, I did a lot of mistakes while I was managing my team. Okay.
Hmm.
I was talking about, like, there is a way to give feedbacks, there is a way to give a trust and all those things, right? So I made mistakes at that time, right? On those things, right? Okay. So, I think I learned from that as well, right? On how to talk to a team member, how to understand their problems, how to help them grow as well. It was a part of a journey, right? So there were many mistakes, uh, that I did. I would not like to take an example because if the other person watches this, he'll say that, oh, he's talking about me. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there were management problems that I did. Of course, the fault was mine. Okay.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
have taken a better path on managing that. That's me. Uh, you know, uh, as I told you, right, manage the team properly. I definitely learned from it. Not taking hurried decision, that's the second thing. I think in tech, to be very frank, I am really having a hard time identifying that if I made a mistake or not. I definitely had a lot of learnings. I definitely had a lot of learnings, but as of now in my journey, I don't think I have taken a mistake in terms of any tech decisions that I have taken. Okay, which is good touch, man. So that is still goes on. Uh,
Yes.
in terms of people management, yes, many mistakes,
Yes.
many mistakes,
Yes.
right? How to handle attrition, how to handle those things, Uh, again, no blunders, mistakes, right?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and you will learn from mistakes, right? So it's
Yeah.
it's okay, it's okay, right? At
Yeah.
the end of the day, when my team members come and tell me, how I help them grow, that's the time, you forget about all the mistakes that you have made, right? Okay, that's
Yes. Yeah.
fine, right? Okay, so that's good.
Yes. So, what would be your next goal to achieve from, like, now that you're at the position of the VP of engineering? So, what's something that you would want to have yourself for, like, let's say 5, 10 years down the line going forward? Something that you want to achieve
I always
going forward?
wanted to start something of my own, right? That's the next step pending, right?
Yes. Yes.
Of course, after VP might be a CTO. Let's say I don't know, right? It might be a CTO, not a problem, right? But that's all you can go from there, right? What else after that,
Yes.
right? So definitely the goal
Yes.
is to start something of my own, right?
Hmm.
Apparently, I need to have a good idea and a
Yes.
lot of time to do that, and a good team as well. I think I have a team who
Yeah.
wants.
I think you, anyways, cracked your code, like how to manage and, build a team and scale a team. So, yeah.
So I have a good team who I can work with definitely.
Yes.
But I think I definitely need a very good idea where that makes a difference, right? It's not like I can just take an idea. I need to find a problem which I need to solve, right? Okay, and I still have not come up with that. I
Hmm.
did come up with some ideas before, but apparently I did not act on those ideas, and now those ideas are gone because someone else also.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah, like so many people we have in tech, right? There is no way that your idea is your own idea. There is a high chance
Hmm.
the same idea has been thought by someone already, right? So
Yes.
what
Yes.
matters is it's the speed to the market, right? Okay, so
Yes.
if I get right opportunity and the right idea, I think this time I will move fast and grab that. If I have that, right? For now,
Yeah.
I don't have it, right? Of course, in 5 years or 10 years, I definitely see that I definitely might have gotten that opportunity for sure, right? So
Yes.
we'll do that.
Yeah, we would actually look forward for it, and I'm sure that you're someone who would definitely, like, manage and scale the company to a bigger level. So, last question, Gaurav. So, if you could describe yourself in one sentence, how would you do it? Like, how would you want people to be remembered as, and what is the one sentence that you think you could describe yourself
I don't know the answer to this. To be very frank, I don't know the answer to this. Uh, one sentence is pretty small to describe
in? Okay,
myself.
let's go with 2 or 3.
Uh,
How would you describe yourself if you actually look down to your journey and everything that you've learned, everything that you overcame, and the way you molded yourself with? What would that be?
I can say that I'm very simple, sorted, down to earth person. Uh,
Hmm.
I I'm not that adventurous or interesting person that you will find. Okay, I'm very simple, and I spend most of my free time either watching TV or sleeping actually, right, or learning. So if I'm not learning, I'm either watching TV or I am sleeping. That's all.
Yes.
Uh, so that's there. I do like to travel a little bit. Uh, Again, not a very travel kind of person. Just go to new places, chill there. Do not hurry on visiting everywhere, everything, right? Okay,
Yeah.
but just still go to
Yeah.
a new place and explore that new place. And food, I'm very foodie. That's very
Yeah.
important. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm a foodie person. I like to eat a lot, uh, mostly spicy food. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was really amazing. And I think I learned personally a lot from your journey. And definitely all the viewers, I guess, who are actually watching you, and they definitely learned a lot from your journey too. And thank you for sharing all your journeys and your achievements and experience and all the anecdotes that had this hidden message of how we could, build a team and how we could scale it and how you could, how could one brush up on their skills from you being a college student, of being an introvert, to your journey of managing a team and going forward, of starting something of your own. Well, that has been inspiring, Gaurav, and I'm really, really glad and happy to have you here with the conversation of unveiling your journey. And thank you so much for giving your time, and thank you so much for sharing your learning experience with us. I hope our audience has have taken some takeaways from your journey, and we would look forward to have more conversations with you. And thank you for giving your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Yes.
for calling me on this
Yes.
platform and giving me this chance to, talk about my journey actually, right? Okay. And I see this also as a learning for me. As I told you, I do have speech defects, right? So
Yeah.
I understand.
Well, that was not even obvious.
Yeah,
I was like rethinking on the fact if it was anyways near to what you were saying, because you were exceptionally first of all, you were really a good storyteller on the way that you kind of narrated your experiences and how your learnings were there. And I think all everyone who's watching us would relate to me, and we really had a great time listening to you. And any last advice or anything that you want to say to the audience who's watching us for the
I'll say, I'll repeat again, keep learning, right? Keep learning tech every day. That's all.
Yes. Yeah. That being said, thank you so much, Gaurav. Thank you for joining us. And we are very glad to have you. And thank you for taking your time once again for the Beyond Code conversations. And we continue to inspire with such stories like you and all the other tech leads who are actually leading the tech industry for a better and brighter future tomorrow. So, yeah, thank you so much once again. Thank you for taking your time.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, guys. Thank you for joining.
everyone.